So, 2 days ago, I promised that I would explain why I took a position in RKFORGE, and this is exactly the video where I'm going to talk about it. One of the few things which, before selecting any of the strict, which I consider is more about what is the generic trend of the stock, and depending upon that, whether I should be going long or whether I should be going short, right? So in order to keep this video short, we are going to just browse through a few of the very important aspects of my criteria which I use in selecting a stock for intraday or for short term. So one of the things is, if we look for a monthly breakout chart, here we would see that since the pandemic started, so this stock has been moving in a very good uptrend. So there have been a big candles, green candles, which are being supported by volume. So this is the first thing, that okay, the longer perspective of the stock is going towards a longer side, right? And then from monthly charts, and also this is also important in order to understand whether there is an immediate supply zone, and whether there's an immediate supply zone, whether there's an immediate demand zone. That's the support and resistance. So these are also one of the criteria. So here we can see, okay, we are somewhere over here, and one of the things which we can see is round about at 720 750 levels. There have been some upper wicks like this, and also towards the down we can see there's a very good support which was generated round about at 500 levels, right? So we are sort of away from both the support as well as from demand, which is a good thing. Next, when we look for the weekly chart, this is very interesting. Where things get more interesting is, it had a good uptrend since July of 2020, and this was moving up, and then it went for a very tight consolidation. And this is very important, because you shouldn't get stuck over here. You can get stuck, and there are different other trading strategies which I employ on these zones. But theoretically, what happened is, since this month there was a huge good breakout, and this was followed by a big volume. So this was something very interesting, a very interesting script for me. And right, and why was I then not entering this stock when this breakout happened? Well, I took a trade, and maybe it's there in the Twitter, but the most important thing was, when a breakout happens and then there was a big red candle, and here you can see that it tried to retest this breakout zone, which is around about 610 615 620 region, and then it tried to move up. So this actually shows that, okay, there are buyers in this region who want to stay with the stock for a longer period of time. Going forward, here we can see in the weekly chart, round about 700 720 is a very good zone where one should consider a next phase of consolidation to come in. Now I'm going to start off why I selected this on the daily chart. And this was very interesting, because I took the position round about on this 26th, when I tweeted about it. Before that, it made a new 52-week high around about 670. So the moment it made this high, it was on one of the stocks which came into my radar, that okay, this is one of the stocks where I will enter in dip. And now what happened is, on that day it gave a red candle. So obviously this is not one of the days where you should be entering, where open is high. And then theoretically, after in 3-4 sessions, you can see there was a very good consolidation which was happening over here. I was expecting it to be coming around about in 615 610 zone over here, which would be a very good position for me to do a sip. Normally when I say sip, this is exactly the region I talk about. But here what happened is, just on 25th, if we go for hourly chart, say for example, and this will give a very good idea of what happened on the 25th. So it was consolidation very much in the 650 to 630 zones, and this was okay. I was just waiting for this particular zone to get broken. On 25th, I remember there was deep selling which happened over here, and you can see it was also accompanied with a good volume. So I was pretty much sure that this stock is going to gap down, and I may be lucky enough to get around about in 606 to 6015 levels. But the thing which happened very interesting on 26th, which caught my attention, was it opened with a gap up, right? And if we look for a lower time frames, say for 5-minute chart, this is how it looked like, right? So in the first, or rather, let's go for the 5-minute chart. So this is how it looked like on 25th. Here you can see there was a huge volume during the closing, and it was a big red candle, and then there were immediate buying which came, and these two wicks are very important, which means that there are buyers in this region just like me. On the next day it opened up with a gap up 634, and in the first 5 minutes it went towards 646. So this actually shows that this stock may be a very good candidate, and this particular pattern where you see that it has been consolidating, but on the larger time frames it's on the uptrend. So this gives a very good idea of, you know, this stock may be one of the runners which will run in the short term. So here we can see in the first 5 minutes it was trading between 640 and 630 levels, so I was not interested. And the best thing which happened was when it tried to break this particular candle. So even you can see it was making higher highs and higher lows, which means the stock was trying to move up, but it was facing and not able to close above 646 on a 5-minute chart. But the moment it went for this particular candle, I knew that this is something which might be a good trade to start with. And around about 9:45 to 10, this is when I tweeted that I'm going to be long on this one. So it came for 640 region, this one, or it came for this in this particular candle. This was where I actually entered around about 640, 641, and then you can see the overshoot which happened, and it exactly made 670, which was the all-time 52-week high at that point of time. So these are very good, and I also tweeted when I entered over here that, you know, the 52-week high is 670, 668 levels, and this is going to go for it, and this is exactly what happened over here. And another thing which is very interesting, and I will try to keep this video really short and not to prolong it for longer. So then it entered into a very good tight consolidation zone of 5 rupees. I remember 665 to 660 exactly, and this is something which again should be in your trading, which should be in your tracker, because I was waiting for a breakdown or a breakup, right? And when a breakdown of a script like this happens, then actually it's a very good sign, in the sense that, you know, these are shakedowns in which weaker hands are supposed to leave the script, and this is exactly where, you know, interesting patterns they emerge. And this was exactly the pattern which was very interesting, that there was a breakdown, but immediately after 3-4 candles over a period of half an hour it reversed, and this was around about 2:20, 2:30 and 3 o'clock. And this is again when I retweeted, this is one of the stocks which I'm going to carry as a BTST, and the whole point was I entered around about the 663 levels, and I remember it closed around about 670. It again went for this 670 levels, and I closed my positions over here. So this was a quick trade which I took, and eventually this turned out to be a good one. So hopefully you guys understood why RKFORGE is one of the counters which I selected. And if you guys have your own screeners just like I do, theoretically these patterns, when they emerge, that there are huge consolidation in the longer time frame, just like in the weekly as we saw, but the generic momentum is there, and then you see there was a breakdown, and eventually it shot up with a gap up. And this was very most interesting thing, is that it closed around about 622 levels, and then there was an immediate gap up of 635 levels, and for the first half an hour it didn't go for the test, rather it was making a higher low and higher high. This exactly says that the stock is ready for, you know, making a new move and going towards the immediate resistance level, which was the all-time high at the 52-week high at that point of time. So hope I was able to explain myself, and thanks a lot for listening. Yeah, have a nice day. Bye bye.